Welcome. My name is Pam Dunwald. I am one of your nurse advocates from Your Nurse Advocates Consulting, and I'm super excited to bring a fellow advocate, Barbara Gaynor, with us. She has Braddock Consulting and Advocacy. She is a board certified patient advocate. She's a certified legal nurse, and she's also a member of our patient advocate match directory. So we are really, really glad to have Barbara here. She's got some really neat programs coming up, and I wanted to get her on so that we can share the great information, how she can help people with preparing their advanced directives or getting their documents in order. What about these college kids going away to school? So Barbara's got a few things that she wants to tell us about. So I'm going to turn it over to Barbara. Barbara, go ahead. Tell us all the goodness you've got coming up.
Good morning, Pam, and thank you ever so much for having me here. I am excited. We're recording today, but today we are having a free webinar at 7 o'clock. You can register for it on Eventbrite. And what it is how to care for or to support your loved ones from afar. And so that's a free webinar this evening. It starts at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And then next week, on the 8th of August, at the same time, we are going to be having a free webinar regarding our college-bound kids. They are thinking that they're getting it all together and they know what's going on, but you as a parent, you know better. So how best to prepare them for medical emergencies and all that kind of thing. So there are a lot of tips and resources on that free webinar. Go ahead and register. I'll drop the link in your chat if you don't mind. And
Absolutely.
and then the following week, which will be the 15th, I'm having a medical binder workshop, and that will tie everything in together. So you will be able to help your loved ones from afar, and also college bound teens that are going and they also need this information. It's going to be awesome. We all need our medical binder. It's, have you ever felt like when you go to a doctor, I'm caught in a headlight if you say, so when did this happen? And you're like, you don't know. But if you have your medical binder with you, boom, you open it up, has your history in there, and you go, oh yes, this happened on July 3rd of 2020. You're right there, and it's helping you to be proactive in your life care, in your health care, sorry, because then your appointments with your doctors go so much smoother. And instead of having your doctor guess and spell, they don't have crystal balls. They all have a lot of patients that they're dealing with. And so you helping them along the way is a godsend for them, because then they know you're organized, you're in this, and you want the best healthcare ever. So I invite you to the webinar this evening, which is a free one that you can register on Eventbrite. The next one will be a free webinar on the 8th of August, and I'll drop the link for you to be able to register for that. And then we also have our workshop. So I'm looking forward. So if anybody wants to come on down, that's fine. Now, I should state that the medical binder workshop is a paid event, and I only have 25 spots. So please go ahead and register for that as soon as possible. It will be fun.
Barbara, if we want to back up a little bit, when we're talking about the kids going off to college, I know you shared with me a story. Could you share that story with me about what happened when a college student ended up in the hospital, or talk a little bit about why, why anyone over the age of 18 really needs to have these documents in place?
Absolutely. So I've gotten so many calls as an advocate. It's just crazy. So one aunt called me because their niece was missing. And when they found the niece, she was 17 when she went missing. But when they found her, she was 18. And So the family is frantic and they need help to, advocate for their child. But the hospital under HIPAA cannot really release because the child is 18. So if
So,
she is not, she at the time was not able to talk for herself. So the hospital is doing just what they need to do to keep her alive and do whatever. Luckily, she regained consciousness, but the anxiety, the stress that the family went through, now you can alleviate that by talking with your teen and having them have that advanced directive in place already. All it is having them have a healthcare power of attorney that in the event that they are not able to make decisions for themselves, that you or whoever they designate can make medical decisions for them until you get there. Have that liaison person in place. But that piece of document and having a HIPAA form also, some places require both papers, that one you have it and it's a legal document. You can find those documents online from your state. You can talk to an estate planning attorney or just a regular attorney. They'll help you to get this all together, but you need to get that paperwork together. So just like how you have insurance for your car and you have insurance for your house and you have insurance for whatever it is, this is a way for you and your teen to have that piece of paper, which is technically an insurance. It's not really an insurance, but it gives you peace of mind to know, things are happening. So it's a good thing to have for sure. And as they go off to college, there is the beer chugging, there is the hazing, there is girls gone wild, there is boys gone wild, there is, everything, because they are not thinking ahead. Responsible ones, probably. But I'm out of mom and dad's hair. I can do what I want, when I want, how I want, eat what I want. But if something happens and you are not able to make an informed decision, you're incapacitated. Who do you designate? So I encourage parents to have that conversation with their teen who is going off to college. And before they hit the road or get in, you make sure that that paperwork is signed and you have a copy and they have a copy. Have them put it on their phone. I don't care. Have them put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in their dorm room and tell their dorm mate, in the event of something, here's the contact information, do this. So
and
yeah.
and that's the last thing that people are thinking about. I mean, going
Mm-hmm.
off to college is an exciting time. It's the beginning of their adult life, and it's all fun, and they've got lots of things, and they're free, and it's just an exciting time. But it's a parent's worst nightmare when
Absolutely.
something happens to their child.
Trial. Yep.
They may be states away at another college, and then to go to a
Absolutely.
hospital and not be able to get any information, I would go crazy.
I would go crazy. And the thing is that, thank God, I, I really didn't know about all of this when I was raising my kids. Thank God they're old men now. But you're always that parent that sleeps with one eye closed because you're always listening out for your phone and this and that because you don't know what's happening. Well, this alleviates some of that stress. Yes, you are going to stress, but at least if something happens at that particular time, there is what we call in advocacy ICE, in case of emergency. You have that together and you share that with your college teen. I go, yeah, mom, I know you don't have to worry. But then, when push comes to shove, yes, because you'll get that call. Oh, when was my immunization for such and such a day? Or do you have you give them that binder and you say, here you go. It's all your medical documentation all together.
Yeah,
Take it and go.
and these kids are digital savvy. I mean, you could put it on a
Yes,
flash drive. You could, whatever
exactly.
method is easiest for them. And it doesn't
Yeah,
have to be this big deal for them, but
it's big
it's
deal.
just so important. And you don't think about that. So I just encourage everyone to, go to Eventbrite and look up Barbara, Braddock Consulting and
Something and
Advocacy,
advocacy.
and make sure that you're looking at these webinars and the workshop that's coming up about the medical binder. I mean, it's, once it's done, it's done. Then you just have to keep it up. So,
Yeah,
as as an advocate, Barbara has everyone's best interest in mind to be able to navigate the healthcare system and make sure that you and your loved ones are getting the best care possible. And that, as advocates, that's what we
we
want. And
do. Yeah,
so, let us help you. Let us come alongside you and be your guide.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
and be your support system too to help
Absolutely.
you because we have the experience. You and I have the experience as nurses. We speak medicalese, if you want to talk about that. And
Mhm.
we are also parents. We know what the stress factor is. We know what happens inside the hospitals and at doctors' offices and all those kind of things. So let us be your guide. I mean, you go through, as we say in our advocacy, you go through fear, you go through uncertainty, you go through doubt, guilt, exhaustion. We call it the fudge factor. That's what's happening. You go through the fudge factor. Let us help you navigate that situation because it may look overwhelming and daunting at that time, but it's doable. And you will be so grateful for the support that we can provide for you. So, yes.
And one last thing I'll say as we wrap up, both Barbara and I have, we have free, consultations. So I think
Mm-hmm.
one of the most important things is that when you're in a role, maybe where you've got questions with healthcare or you're caring for an aging loved one, and I know Barbara is in that same space as well. I think the biggest thing is I think one of the most important reasons to do just a free consultation with us is that you don't know what you don't
Don't
know,
know.
and you don't
Exactly.
know what questions to ask because you don't know what you should know. And so we can read between the lines, fill in the blanks, and give you a path, and come alongside you on your journey to get all these things figured out. I mean, we may just do a task for you, or we may come alongside you for a longer haul, whatever you need. That's what advocates are for. So, Barbara, in wrapping up, is there anything you'd like to say about your practice or your experience before we close?
Okay, so my practice, Braddock Consulting and Advocacy, I've been an advocate now for about 2.5 years. I'm a registered nurse with over 26 years of nursing experience. I chose not to specialize in one area. I took the model from the British and the West Indian model for nurses because they do 6-month rotations in every area. The only areas I haven't done is peds because I get too attached. Surgery, and labor and delivery. But every other aspect from the doctor's office to hospice, I have covered. So I know when you speak, I said, been there, done that, know exactly what's happening. You want to know why is it taking the doctor so long to do such and such a thing, or why is it that I have to wait so long at an emergency room? We can give you the inside story to that because we know exactly what's happening there. So we ask you to, understand and be prepared. And we have questions, some questions, as Pam says, you don't remember to ask, or you don't know to ask like the doctor because we understand the disease process of what's happening. And so we can either give you the questions to ask or we can interject. We can be with you regardless of where you are in the whole United States. We can be with you either in person or via phone or what we call FaceTime. So we can be in that appointment for you. So it is a good thing to have an advocate in your corner, and especially for, we call them now solo agers, those adults who have no family at all, no children, no husband, no nieces, no nephews, nobody, and they are going through this all alone. You or one of us as advocates can help them along the way, be that support system for them. If it's even to do wellness calls just to see how they're doing and if there's anything we can do for them. Those are the things that we need to do. If they go to the hospital, we need to make sure that they're having a safe discharge from the hospital. We can recognize if something is not safe, and we can say, oh, no, this is not going to work. I had a client, just a quick story, who is blind, and they were having, open heart surgery. Well, their main concern was not the surgery. Their main concern was being in ICU and somebody putting a tray in front of them and saying, okay, Mr. Smith, here is your tray. And nobody understanding that he's blind. And he's like, okay, where is this place? Where's the spoon, the fork, the plate? Blind people go by the clock. Your drink is at 1, your knife and fork is at 9 and 3, your plate is at 12 and 6. So they have an idea of where their placement is. But he was concerned that people would not realize that he is blind. What did I do? I arranged for 24-hour care, bedside sitter, for while he was there in the hospital. That was a godsend. 24 hours of care. That relieves so much stress. And then before he went home, I said home health, so that somebody would be there to monitor him until he went back to his cardiac appointment and stuff. So it's integrated, and he was so appreciative of having that all together. It was like a godsend. You talked to him the other day. He wants to have a conference call just to see how best we as advocates can help the blind community. So we're working on that.
Wonderful. That's a great opportunity
Yeah.
to be able to assist those. And I'm glad. And for those that are watching, you know, Barbara and I and other advocates may think that that's a normal day in the life of a nurse, to arrange these things. But a lot of people don't understand that we could put these plans in place. And so uh what might seem a simple task for us would mean all the difference to you or your family. So these are the
Yeah.
little ways that end up making big differences in how
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
manage that healthcare journey.
And the other thing too is that hospitals and places will say, "Well, we have an advocate. We can help you with that." And I'll tell you this: their advocate stops at the hospital door.
Absolutely.
Advocates like Pam and myself, we can go in and out the door because we are in the community. We are taking them from the hospital to their home. We are making sure and monitoring them to make sure that they are getting the health care that they need. And so we do more than that. So when they say, well, we have a patient advocate and they can help you, you need to find out and have them give you the definition of what their advocate can do for you.
You
That's
know, that's a great thing. And I'll just wrap up with one other quick story. My partner Linda has a client, and he fell at home, had a large brain bleed. His daughter was on vacation, who was his power of attorney. Grandson went to check on him because he hadn't heard from him, found him on the floor. And so they didn't have access to his advanced directives. So they didn't know he was a do not resuscitate because none of those paperwork was close by, or there wasn't a form on the refrigerator for the emergency for the rescue
mm-hmm,
squad to see.
mm-hmm,
So they intubated him. He's on a ventilator. And so the daughter obviously came home from Florida as quick as she could, is sitting in the room. He's in intensive care. The prognosis is not good, but she has not talked with a doctor yet about what that prognosis looks like. And the hospital sends in the utilization review nurse and says, well, you know what? He's not making progress. We're not doing anything so we need to transfer him out of ICU and send him to another unit. And the daughter was like, excuse me, I don't even know what's going on with my father. And you're telling me we have to leave the ICU. And so, then that's where the advocate steps in and says, okay, wait a minute, let's back up here a little bit. This is not how this is going to go.
Oh, yes.
So Linda was there to advocate, for that daughter and for her client. And so these are the things. So when you have us as your advocate, you have us in your back pocket and we
Mm-hmm.
are ready to go at moment's notice for
Absolutely,
you.
absolutely. Because it's the issue is communication. That's where the ball drops, always. Somebody dropped the ball with regards to communication. And
Absolutely.
so if you don't talk to people, then they won't know. So what we do, we make sure that all the providers and nurses and whomever, physical therapy and so are all in the meeting together, and we can talk about what's the prognosis, what does it look like going forward, because people don't really want to be in that situation. Give them the education that they need so that, yeah, we can be able to, okay, I understand he's not progressing. What's the next thing? It's going to be an LTAC on a long-term care acute uh, facility, or are we going to go hospice, or are we going to go skilled nursing? There are stepping stones. And so we have to do. And sometimes us as advocates, we have that hard task sometimes of having that come to Jesus conversation, but it is necessary at times, so yeah, we do amazing stuff.
Well, Barbara, thank you so much for coming on, and I'm excited to share this video with those in our community and outside of our community, and just to let you know what great programs that you have coming up. And again, just a little behind the scenes on what they can expect from a patient advocate. So, Barbara, thank you so much. Keep
Thank
fighting
you,
the good
Pam.
fight. And
You too. You
all
too.
right. All right, take care, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.